Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome if you're new. Thank you for taking time out of your day to check the video out. We have more PlayStation news, rumors, and leaks to go over and cover today. Before we get into the topics though, I do want to just take a moment to ask you about Bloodborne. What do we think is going on with Bloodborne? I know that people have been waiting for Sony to do something with this IP for over a decade now. But the reason why I'm asking this is because I stumbled upon the PlayStation 30th anniversary video that was released last year again, and I watched it, and at the very end, they seemingly tease Bloodborne in a very small way, but I remember when this came out, people were freaking out thinking it meant something was going on with Bloodborne. But here we are, still nothing, so I'm curious, let me know your thoughts down below, what you think is going on with Bloodborne behind the scenes. If anything, do you think Sony's done with it? Have they moved on? Or can we expect something in the future? But we're going to start with the first topic here, which talks about PlayStation Plus, specifically the games leaving the service in November of 2025. So the following list of departures has been taken from the Japanese PlayStation Store. The games leaving PlayStation Plus in November are Battlefield 5, Like a Dragon Ishin, Digimon Survive, Travis Strikes Again, No More Heroes, Synapse, Deadlist, The Awakening of Golden Jazz, and Football Manager 2024 console. The games listed above will leave around the middle of November when next month's extra and premium lineups are added to the catalog. We will update the list if more games are added to PlayStation Store's Last Chance to Play section. But moving on to the next topic, we are talking about the PlayStation Partner Awards 2025. This is being reported by Gamatsu. Sony Interactive Entertainment Japan Asia will host PlayStation's Partner Awards 2025 on December 3rd, the company has announced. PlayStation Partner Awards 2025 Japan Asia recognizes the PlayStation versions of hit titles sold across the Japan and Asia regions. So the Game Award is awarded to the top 3 titles developed in Japan/Asian regions with highest worldwide sales between October 1st, 2024 and September 30th, 2025. Then they have the Partner Award, which is awarded to titles developed in the Japan-Asia region with top-ranked worldwide sales between October 1st, 2024 and September 30th, 2025, with particularly noteworthy activity results. They also have a few other awards here, such as the Accessibility Award, as well as the User's Choice Award. They say awarded to the top titles chosen by users in the Japan and Asia regions, and the title candidates are directly taken from the top 30 titles released between October 1st, 2024 and September 30th, 2025. So yeah, this is something that Sony does every year, and this isn't a place where they make announcements or anything like that, but still, it's something that Sony does annually, and so for anybody who's interested, it's set to take place again on December 3rd. Moving on from that though, we're talking about the latest PlayStation 5 Pro model, a small revision, and it seems like it's an improvement over the original. This is being reported by PlayStation Lifestyle. They say Sony Interactive Entertainment has quietly released a new model of its high-end console option, the PS5 Pro. According to previous rumors, the new iteration makes some slight improvements to the original. Although the price may be more expensive after the recent price hike, PlayStation players who have yet to purchase the enhanced console will be happy to hear that the new model is in fact an improvement, albeit a slight improvement. In a recent video, YouTuber Austin Evans conducted tests to compare the new PS5 Pro model with the original. This included testing the weight, power efficiency, temperature, noise, and a teardown, showing differences in components. For weight, the original PS5 Pro clocked in at 3103 grams, while the new iteration was 3016 grams, an 87 gram difference. This is due to some alterations made to the fan, the motherboard, and the power supply. Each are lighter than the components found in the original console. Theoretically, these slight changes would make it cheaper to manufacture. The original rumors claimed that the new PS5 Pro model would be around 2 to 3% more energy efficient than its original counterpart. It seems those rumors are true, although idle numbers are similar when tested with games like Astro's Playroom and Gran Turismo 7. Evans actually found an improvement of 3 to 4%. They also found the new model runs slightly less cooler and a bit quieter. So there you go. If you were wondering what changes were made to the PS5 Pro, these are it. And again, it's nothing too significant, but if you're somebody who is planning on buying the PS5 Pro, in the coming year or two, you'll be getting the better version of it. This is nothing new. This is what Sony's been doing pretty much all generation. So there you go. Moving on from that, we have an interesting topic regarding Shuhei Yoshida's thoughts on the upcoming PlayStation 6 generation. This is being reported by Push Square. They say conversations about the next generation of consoles have already begun, with lots of rumors about PS6 and its supposed arrival in 2027. However, many are satisfied with what current-gen machines are capable of, and the diminishing returns offered by new, technically more powerful consoles are becoming so minute that it's difficult to imagine the PS6 making a huge leap forward. That seems to be the gist of what Shuhei Yoshida thinks, at the very least. The former PlayStation executive who left the company earlier this year made an appearance on the Friends Per Second podcast, talking about his experience as a freelance consultant for indie studios as well as the future of the gaming landscape. While talking about PlayStation in particular, Yoshida says that Sony needs to do something other than simply pushing for more power in the next-gen box. Graphics have almost hit to the level that even I cannot tell the difference with some of the graphics capabilities, like ray traced or not ray traced, unless it's side by side, or higher frame rate, he says. So PlayStation clearly, in my mind, they cannot do the same thing they've been doing, increasing the graphics power and providing the high-end experiences. They might just do that, but still, that feels like a niche audience right now. Yoshida also brings up PlayStation's current management, who may be able to bring fresh perspective on how the platform should evolve. I think it's really fitting that PlayStation has a new generation of management, referring to Hideaki Nishino, who is the president of SIE. In his 40s, he's like 46 years old. So a much younger generation. Up until Jim Ryan, it's always been our generation, the first generation of PlayStation management leading the company. But now Nishino and Herman Hulst are much younger, so they can do something disruptive. They don't have to follow what PlayStation has done in the past. So yeah, it's super interesting. When asked what Sony can do to succeed with the PS6, Yoshida doesn't offer his own ideas, but instead praises the company for being able to find innovative ways to improve gaming with each new console. For myself, I think the PS5 is an amazing system in terms of quality of experience, he says. I think the adoption of the SSD was almost like a miracle. I think the PS5 and SSD has made almost every game a better game. He says that Sony and Mark Cerny are so brilliant in designing and creating systems that people can really enjoy, offering up PS Portal as an example. He says even he was skeptical of it at first, but once he used it, he understood the appeal. So hopefully they have been cooking something that we don't know about, that when we get a hold of it, we'll say, oh yeah, this is great. So fingers crossed. So yeah, I just wanted to cover what Shuhei Yoshida had to say here. It's always interesting to get his insight. He no longer works for PlayStation, but everybody who's a fan of PlayStation knows who Shuhei Yoshida is. And yeah, I generally speaking agree with him. I do think Sony is going to need to do a bit more this time around to convince people to upgrade, other than just, here you go, the games look better and they run better. And I have no doubt that Sony will be planning to do more than that. Whether or not it's actually going to be something meaningful that convinces people, that remains to be seen. But there you go. It's also interesting to hear his perspective of Hideaki Nishino and Herman Hulst being much younger, and how he believes that's going to lead to some more disruptive changes, which, yeah, I think we're already kind of seeing that, right? We're going to move on to the next topic, though, which is a surprise update for Days Gone Remastered, being reported once again by Push Square. They say Days Gone Remastered has become the latest PS5 game to take advantage of Sony's new Power Saver feature. Sony has gradually been rolling out support for this profile after it was added to its console in a recent firmware update. It's worth noting that we just covered the fact that Demon's Souls Remake also got the Power Saver mode, and it was not tested by the likes of Digital Foundry, but players who enabled it saw that it dropped the frame rate to 30 frames and seemingly reduced the overall resolution quite a bit. The article continues saying some hypothesize that this feature is all part of Sony's plan to introduce a handheld in the future, with developers scaling down their software to potentially take advantage of the new hardware in the future. While that's far from confirmed, it is interesting how the platform holder appears to be tasking its first-party teams with supporting this functionality. We're curious if updates for the likes of God of War Ragnarok and Marvel's Spider-Man 2 will follow. So yeah, this was definitely a little bit of a surprise because the only titles that I remember being confirmed taking advantage of this feature are Demon Souls, Ghost of Yotei, and Death Stranding 2, but now Days Gone is going to be supporting it as well. And I'm really going to be interested to find out, what exactly is going on with these games in this low power mode. Hopefully Digital Foundry will do a full-blown analysis, but yeah, it still seems like this is preparing developers for the upcoming handheld, but I'll keep you in the loop with that. Moving on to the final topic, though, we have some bad news for an upcoming game, physically anyway, being reported by Push Square. They say in another low for physical game releases from Microsoft, it has been discovered there's only 1.32 gigabytes of data on the PS5 disc for The Outer Worlds 2, which launches on October 29th. Word comes from Does It Play, where an early physical PS5 copy reveals there's just 1 gigabyte of data on the actual disc, which contains the 1.0 version. You'll then need to download 71.6 gigabytes in an update to actually play the title via a patch that's dubbed 1.002. It can then be played offline, but you still need an internet connection in the first place to pull that initial update. Without it, the title simply won't play. Games published by Microsoft have developed a track record over the last 12 months of poor physical releases, with most box versions requiring downloads in order for the game itself to play. This has included Indiana Jones and the Great Circle and Doom the Dark Ages. We can now add The Outer Worlds 2 to that list. So just figured I would let you guys know about this. I know a lot of you still collect physical games. I don't know how many of you are looking forward to The Outer Worlds 2 or buying it physically, but keep in mind that you will have a massive update. There's pretty much nothing on the disc. Anyway, guys, that's going to do it for the video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it informative. If you did, be sure to leave it a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new, hit the bell notification icon, and feel free to share this video out on top of all that. But until next time, guys, take care.